My name is Melissa. I am 34 years old. I have a husband. His name is Daniel. He is 37. We have been married for 11 years. And we have one daughter. Her name is Lily. She is 8 years old. When I married Daniel, everyone told me I was lucky. He was kind, hardworking, quiet, the kind of man every woman wanted. I believed them. For years, I believed I had married the right person. But there was one thing I never understood. No matter what happened, Daniel always chose his older sister. Always. Her name is Rebecca. She is 41. She has been divorced twice. She has 2 teenage sons. Ever since their parents passed away, Daniel treated Rebecca like she was his responsibility. At first, I admired him. I thought he was simply being a good brother. But slowly, that responsibility became more important than his own family. Every weekend, Daniel disappeared to help Rebecca, fixing her house, driving her children around, paying her bills, buying groceries. If Rebecca called, Daniel answered immediately. If Lily needed him, she usually had to wait. At first, I stayed quiet. I told myself family comes first, but eventually I realized something painful. Lily and I were never first. Rebecca always was. I work as an accountant. My job pays well. Most of our mortgage comes from my salary. I pay Lily's school tuition, medical insurance, house expenses. Daniel contributes, but much of his money somehow ends up helping Rebecca. Every month there is another emergency, a broken washing machine, late rent, school fees, car repairs. There is always a reason, and Daniel never says no. Sometimes I wonder if Rebecca even tries to solve her own problems, because she knows my husband will rescue her. One evening, Lily asked me something I will never forget. "Mom, why does Dad smile more at Aunt Rebecca's house than here?" I didn't know how to answer, because I had noticed the same thing. At home, Daniel looked tired, distracted, annoyed. But the moment Rebecca called, his mood completely changed. One Friday night, we planned a family dinner. Lily had been excited all week. She even made a drawing for her father. 10 minutes before dinner, Daniel's phone rang. Rebecca. She said her kitchen sink was leaking. Daniel stood up immediately. "I have to go." Lily grabbed his arm. "Daddy, please stay." He kissed her forehead. "I'll make it up to you." Then he walked out. He never came back that night. Lily waited by the window until she fell asleep, holding the drawing she wanted to give him. I sat beside her, trying not to cry. That was the night something inside me changed. I stopped making excuses for Daniel. I stopped believing tomorrow would be different, because tomorrow always looked exactly like yesterday. Rebecca called. Daniel left, and Lily pretended not to care. But I knew she did. The next morning, I found her drawing in the trash. She had thrown it away before school. That small piece of paper broke my heart more than any argument ever could. And deep inside, I began asking myself one terrifying question. Was I raising my daughter to believe she should always come second? The weeks that followed felt heavier than ever. I stopped arguing with Daniel. I stopped asking where he was. I stopped expecting him to choose us. Instead, I watched. And what I saw hurt more than I imagined. One afternoon, I came home early from work because Lily wasn't feeling well. The house was empty. Daniel had told me he was working overtime, but an hour later, I received a notification from our bank. A transfer. $3,000. Sent to Rebecca. Again. I stared at my phone in disbelief. That money was supposed to pay Lily's dental treatment. I called Daniel immediately. He didn't answer. Later that evening, he walked through the door smiling as if nothing had happened. I asked him about the money. His smile disappeared. "It's my sister," he said. "She needed help." I looked at him. "And your daughter doesn't?" He rolled his eyes. "You're making this bigger than it is." That sentence stayed with me all night, because to Daniel, our daughter's needs had become not a big deal. A few days later, something happened that changed everything. Lily had her school talent show. She had practiced singing for weeks. Every evening after dinner, she stood in the living room, rehearsing, while I clapped and cheered. The only thing she wanted was for her father to be there. Daniel promised he wouldn't miss it. "I'll be in the front row," he said. Lily believed him. So did I. The day finally arrived. I kept looking toward the entrance. Every time the doors opened, Lily searched for her father. He never came. She still walked onto the stage. She smiled. She sang beautifully. But I could see her eyes scanning the audience, looking for someone who wasn't there. After the show ended, she asked quietly, "Did Dad get lost?" I hugged her tightly. I couldn't answer. That evening I found out where Daniel had been. Rebecca had posted photos online. She and Daniel were shopping for new furniture, laughing, holding coffee cups, smiling. At the exact time our daughter stood on that stage, something inside me finally broke. That night, Daniel came home carrying shopping bags. I asked him one question. Was buying Rebecca a new couch more important than watching your daughter sing? He became angry. "You don't understand what Rebecca is going through." I looked straight into his eyes. "And you don't understand what your daughter is going through." For the first time, Daniel had no answer. The next morning, Rebecca called our house herself. I answered. She laughed softly. "You really should stop making Daniel feel guilty. He'll always choose me." Her words stunned me. Not because they were cruel, but because she sounded absolutely certain, as if she already knew she had won. That afternoon, I visited Daniel's aunt, an elderly woman who had watched the family grow up. After listening quietly, she sighed. Then she told me something I had never heard before. When Daniel was young, he believed he had to protect Rebecca forever. She made him feel responsible for every problem in her life. But responsibility and control are not the same thing. Those words opened my eyes. Daniel wasn't just helping Rebecca. He had allowed her to control every decision in his life, including our marriage. For years, I blamed Rebecca. Now I realized Daniel had been making these choices himself. No one forced him. He simply refused to put his own family first. That evening, I sat beside Lily as she finished her homework. She looked up and asked, "Mom, if I grow up, will someone always choose me last too?" I felt tears fill my eyes. I held her hand. "No, you will never believe that's what love looks like." That night, after Lily fell asleep, I opened my laptop. I reviewed every bank statement from the last 5 years. Transfer after transfer. Vacation payments, car repairs, rent assistance, medical bills. Thousands upon thousands of dollars. Money that should have built our future had quietly disappeared into Rebecca's life. I finally understood why we never seemed to move forward. I wasn't building one household. I was paying for 2. The next morning, I met with a lawyer. Not because I had already decided to leave, but because I needed to know my rights. For the first time in years, I felt prepared instead of afraid. A week later, Daniel noticed the paperwork on my desk. His face turned pale. "You talked to a lawyer?" "Yes. You wouldn't actually leave." I looked at him calmly. "I already lost my husband a long time ago. You've just been living in this house." For the first time since we married, Daniel looked frightened. He begged me not to make any decisions. He promised he would change. He promised to spend less time with Rebecca. He promised to focus on us. I listened quietly. Then I asked one simple question. If I hadn't talked to a lawyer, would you still be making those promises? He looked down. Silence. That silence told me everything. His promises weren't born from love. They were born from fear. Fear of losing the comfortable life I had built. A few days later, I made my decision. I asked Daniel to sit with me after Lily went to bed. "I loved you for 11 years, I said. "I never asked you to stop low. Your sister. I only asked you to love your wife and daughter enough to put us first once in a while. You never did. I can't teach Lily to accept being second, so I won't accept it either." Daniel cried. He apologized. He asked for one more chance. But some apologies arrive after too much damage has already been done. I filed for divorce. It wasn't easy. Some relatives blamed me. Rebecca called me selfish. Others said I was destroying the family. But they never saw Lily waiting by the window. They never saw the empty chair at her school performance. They never saw the tears she tried so hard to hide. Months passed. Life slowly became peaceful. Lily smiled more. Our home felt lighter. There were no last-minute disappointments, no arguments over money, no phone calls deciding our family's future. One evening, Lily hugged me and whispered, "Mom, I think we're happy again." In that moment, I knew I had made the right choice. I used to believe keeping a marriage together was the bravest thing a woman could do. Now I know something even braver. Sometimes, the strongest love you can show your child is refusing to let them grow up believing they should always come second. And that is exactly what I chose.